Hi, my name is Martin Molina, his name is Daniel Iguren, and his name is Jose Maria Garcia, and we are here to explain why the Antarctica Sea does not freeze. Why does the Antarctica Sea does not freeze at such low temperature? Our objective is to know if the amount of salt in water affects its freezing point. Our hypothesis states that if water has salt, then it will need a lower temperature to freeze because the molecules of salt do not allow the molecules of water to join and create a solid state. Now, my partner Daniel Iguren is going to give us some background information about the experiment.
We look to understand why salt with water needs a lower temperature than 0 Celsius degrees to freeze. This is important information because if the water would freeze, the animals on the Arctic would die and starve because they depend on seafood to survive.
Now we are going to prove our hypothesis.
For this experiment is first 100 milliliters of water, 40 grams of salt, 2 containers, 60 milliliters of ethanol, 20 grams of ice, and 2 rectangular containers. Finally, we need 1 thermometer, 1 lab coat, 1 safety goggle, and a watch or phone to measure time. For the experiment has 9 steps. First is to put your safety goggles and lab coat in case of an emergency. After taking precautions, add 50 milliliters of water in each container. Label the containers A and B. In container B, add 20 grams of salt and be careful to spill any contaminated salt. In different rectangular containers which are bigger, add 30 ml of ethanol and 20 grams of ice. Place the ethanol with a lot of precautions to not spill anything. If something happens, call the adult or teacher responsible immediately. Then, place the containers A and B in the rectangular containers containing the mixture. Let the container rest for at least 20 minutes, measuring and annotating each 5 minutes the temperature and state of each container. Measure the temperature of both containers with the thermometer. Observe which of them freezes at the lowest temperature.
During this experiment, as we can see in the pictures, we have to measure the temperature every 5 minutes of each mixture. As we can see, the water with salt does not freeze at -3 degrees Celsius. On the other hand, water with no salt freezes at -3 Celsius. Here we can see the ring of ice created by this lower temperature.
In conclusion, water with salt needs a much lower temperature to freeze because the salt doesn't allow the water molecules to join and create a solid state.
The results are that after 20 minutes, both mixtures reach -3 Celsius degrees and only the water without salt gets frozen.
In conclusion, our hypothesis was proven by following the procedure of our experiment. And indeed, water with salt needs a much lower temperature to freeze. It doesn't allow the water molecules to join and create a solid state. We can understand why water in the Antarctic Sea doesn't freeze at such a low temperature.
Our objective. Why does that?
¿Ya pusiste play? ¿Qué digo?
Now my partner Daniel.
Materials we need for the experiment is first 100 milliliters of water, 20 grams of salt. No, it's 40 grams.
In conclusion, water with salt needs a much lower temperature to freeze because the salt molecule doesn't allow the water molecules.
Si tienes que regar la planta.
Es que tengo que concentrarme que todo salga bien.
In conclusion, you need a much lower temperature to freeze water with salt than normal water because the salt molecules doesn't.
Se ve en el vidrio, muchachos.
Oh shit.